Welcome back, viewers. Thanks for joining us for the final race of Nations Cup Round 6 at Laguna Seca in what is essentially the Porsche Cayman Cup. Only one driver in the field opted for the Corvette. So 3, 2, 1, we get underway. Go, go, go. A good getaway from Mudblaster as old mate cooks it off the line, already falling back behind Codes and Ranger Oz as we run down to turn 1 with GT Max slotting in behind. Ranger Oz up the inside into turn 1. It looks like Ramjack has made contact with GT Mag as Codes runs off the track on the corner exit. A disaster for GT Mag all the way to the back of the field, and Mudblaster regains the lead into turn 2 from Ranger, Jack, Codes and myself. Riding on board with Jack, it looks like Codes has snuck up the inside to take 3rd position, but Jack is going to get a good slipstream down as we run towards turn 4. He decides to give Codes the bump. Smart driving. So as we settle into the first lap, it's Mudblaster leading from pole, followed by Ranger, Codes, Jack in 4th, myself in 5th, with old mate now falling down to 6th from his front row start. Climbing up the hill towards the famous corkscrew chicane for the first time. This can always be a scene for carnage, but it looks like everyone is going to be sensible, and we go through one by one. Now riding on board with Ranger as we go for this amazing cambered right-hander at the end of the lap. He runs a little bit wide there on the exit, but holds it flat. Nice and tidy into here as you want a good exit to keep the slipstream as we come through to end the first lap, and he has maintained the gap to Mudblaster up ahead, and with Codes in hot pursuit just behind. Already we can see the top 4 have pulled away from the chasing pack as old mate runs a little bit wide on exit. This means he'll have dirt on his tyres and have to lift off a little bit more through that quick right-hander, and that will allow me to pull away on the run down to turn 4. So just a quick note on the strategy for today's race. We are all on the hard tyres. It's going to be a no-stop race. The pit lane loss here is absolutely massive. Probably over 30 seconds, and even with the fresh tyres there's just nothing you can do to make that time back. So we're going to be braking a little bit earlier here just to conserve the tyres, but that gives old mate the confidence to just send it down the inside. He ends up knocking me off of the track limits, and yeah, so we've now dropped down to 7th as KZY has somehow come up, and now he's up into 5th as old mate is forced out wide, and suddenly he's dropped from 5th all the way down to 9th, now down to 10th. It's an absolute cluster as we somehow managed to get back up into 6th, and KZY has been the big winner from that skirmish, pulling away clean in 5th place as it's now 6th myself, 7th Kiwi, 8th is Crunch, I think 9th Ando, and 10th is old mate. So his move there to try and gain 5th position at the corkscrew has gone all wrong for him. And yeah, we now have a train of cars all trying to fight and jostle for position. So riding on board with Ando here as Crunch hits the sausage curb there. That allows Ando up on the inside for this quick right-hander. Just a lift there, maybe a dab of the brakes to stabilize the car. And actually Crunch has lost it on exit. He spins around, so he is now out of the fight. And Ando up into 8th place as Kiwi and myself chase after KZY, and so we look up ahead, and now Codes is right up behind Ranger Oz as well as they go into the corkscrew. Codes unable to find a way through on that occasion. I'm not sure if Ranger and Codes have just been fighting a lot this lap, or if Ranger made a mistake somewhere, but they've already fallen back from Mudblaster. They're out of the slipstream, and I think Codes will be desperate to get past here because he wants to fight for this win, having been robbed of victory in race 2 at the last corner. So we come through to end the 3rd lap, and you can actually see the fastest lap has been set by Mudblaster there, a 27.9, quite a rapid pace. As Ranger approaches turn 1, Codes has a small look up the inside just to unsettle him, and we jump back to the battle for 5th, and I've caught right up to KYZ. It's bumper to bumper through turn 1 We gained a second on him that last lap, so we have a lot more pace. At this point of the race, I was actually on the radio with Ando, and we were trying to come up with a strategy of how we could get him up into 7th place, because I just wasn't comfortable with Kiwi there behind me, and potentially him going for a move while we're stuck behind a slower car like old mate did just a few laps ago. So as we come up the hill and go through this quick left-hander now up towards the corkscrew, and Ando actually pulls out to the left, and I do as well, just to give him the slip, and Ando manages to get the move done. So very impressive driving from both him and clean driving from Kiwi to give him the space. So now myself and Ando are sitting comfortably in 6th and 7th, and we're pretty confident if we can just get past KYZ, we should be able to pull out a gap from Kiwi. And it looks like Mac Codes has actually gotten up ahead of Ranger Oz now, so we will come to the instant replay, see what happens. We're up towards the corkscrew. Codes goes for the inside line, he makes it stick, a good move, and Ranger, he actually cuts the chicane there on the inside. And we have another replay for you from a little bit earlier on in the race. So this is what happened to Norris. He's currently down in 18th, but here on lap 2 he was already up to 12th place, and as I go down the pit straight, Capacong just hits the pit wall, and that rebounds him into Norris. So we'll see it again from onboard Capacong, and he just goes for a gap which isn't there, hits the back of Norris, and Norris goes around. So really unfortunate there for Norris. So back live now, and once again into the first corner here on the 5th lap. And at this stage of the race, I'm once again on the radio with Ando, and I'm just saying, I think this guy, he doesn't have the pace. He's driving, very messy. He's going wide here. He's slow on this apex, slow on that apex. He's probably going to make a mistake any moment now. So just sit tight. Let's not fight. We'll just wait for him to make the mistake ahead of us. And so we go through this left-hander. We are right up behind. You can see Ando is pushing me up the hill just about. And now we approach the very tricky left-hander kink. And you see he just gets onto the slushes there, KYZ, and he spins it around. So a big cheer from Ando on the radio as it worked out. And we're now up into 5th and 6th, and now we can just set about trying to pull away from Kiwi there in 7th, and maybe even make some progress up on Jack up ahead in 4th place. Start of the 6th lap, already riding on board with Codes, and he's maintaining the gap behind Mud Blaster as the two of them pull away from Ranger Oz. So let's go in cockpit view and enjoy a lap from the perspective of one of the quickest drivers in the country. So after turn 1, brake at the gravel, turn in for a late apex 3rd gear, Codes actually drops down into 2nd. Now for this, at the 1 board, slight lift, get on the apex, get on the throttle. Now we have a little bit of a straight up into 4th gear, brake between the 3 and the 2, late turn in once again, late apex. Codes drops down into 2nd for better acceleration up the hill, and now this tricky left hand corner, just a slight dab of the brake, slight lift. You don't want to take too much of that curb there on the inside, but very important corner, because if you get it wrong, you're just going to lose time all the way up the hill. Now, tricky braking for the corkscrew. The car can step out on you here if you're not careful. Codes does well, and he is actually purple on this lap. So we have the left-hander here, and now the right-hander, slight dab of the brakes, get it hooked in. This is camber, so it can really pull you around just there on the curb, on the exit there. And now get the car slowed down to 2nd, turn in. You want to get on the throttle as early as possible so that you can get a good speed down the straight. And as we cross over the line, Codes does a 28.2, so he misses out the fastest lap. We see Mud Blaster there does a 28 flat, so Codes did a 28.3, actually 288. And there, Ramjack has a 29.4, myself a 29.0. That's our fastest lap so far, so we are gaining on Jack ahead of us. So as we reach the midway point of the race, we've got Ando in 6th, Kiwi in 7th, 8th place is Old Mate, Yoda in 9th, Rosmo in 10th, Dunny Rolls 11th, Peneton 12th, KYZ down there in 13th, and then Crunch versus DP Mario for 15th and 16th. They are battling side by side with GT Mag just behind, riding on board with him now. I would have thought that he would have recovered a little bit more. He did spin on the first lap, but he had the pace, I think, to start 4th place here at Laguna Seca, so I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't made more progress through the field, but maybe he's just been held up by traffic. So as we go up to this quick left-hander, Crunch is going to have the inside line. They try to go side by side, and DP Mario just gets run out wide onto the sand, so you never want to go through side by side into that left-hand corner. You're just always going to end up out there in the wilderness if you are on the outside, so better to just give up the corner when you're in that position. And now we will ride on board with Valiant Vendetta as he follows now behind KYZ. So KYZ has just been having a race from hell. He had a great start, gained a lot of positions, and since then it's just been going backwards for him, so he might have cooked his tyres a little bit too much when he had his off earlier. So Valiant is going to have a look up the inside here, but KYZ, he closes the door, so Valiant, he goes to the outside. He's not going to find a way around there, not unless you have much better tyres than the guy in front, but not able to find a way past for now. Jumping ahead to the 9th lap now, and we have this beautiful camera shot of the field coming through, and that's Crunch going wide on the run up to the corkscrew. We have to be careful now of dirty tyres as GT Mag goes by and takes 13th, and oh, Crunch has gone too deep. He's out onto the gravel and spins around. That's the effect of dirty tyres, people, you always have to remember. So Crunch falls back 3 positions down into 16th, and his shot at a top 10 place is ruined. And speaking of the top 10, Rosmo goes too deep in the last corner, gets loose on the exit, and Old Mate nicks 9th place from him like a seagull nicks your chips when you're not looking. So up into 9th place there for Old Mate, and Rosmo is maybe going to have a look at him back into turn 1. Nope, doesn't manage to do anything, and so that's 9th place now for Old Mate. And we'll skip up ahead a few laps to lap 11. Codes has managed to get himself a penalty, and that's going to put Ranger Oz right up back behind him now. Not close enough to get into the slipstream yet, but it seems like at this point in the race Codes is struggling a little bit. Maybe his tyre wear is just a little bit worse than Rangers, as we have been seeing Codes drop down into 2nd gear more often to try and get a better acceleration out of the corners, but that of course is going to put more strain on the tyres. And we are a no-stop race here at Laguna Seca, so Ranger Oz in hot pursuit of Codes. It seems like Mud Blaster has well and truly pulled away now. He is just going there through the final turn now as Codes now approaches, so it's probably a 2 or 3 second gap, maybe even 4 seconds between Codes and Mud Blaster. Jumping ahead a little here, and GT Mag drops a wheel on the sand at the exit of the left-hand kink, holds the throttle and loses the back end. He does a good job just about avoiding the wall, but he can't tame the beast that is the mid-engine Porsche, and drops back to 15th. So not a good race for him, but we've all been there, trying too hard to get back after a first lap incident. So comment F for GT Mag, and another F for OGR Norris fan, but we're gonna just follow him for a bit and admire this. I think it's a Kill Bill livery. Looking good out there, Norris. So here we are now on board with Mud Blaster in the default liveried Porsche. He is way out ahead now. I think it looks like he has this one in the bag now. On with myself, just pulled away from Ando a little bit. We're still in 5th, haven't been able to make any major progress on Jack up ahead of us in 4th. And now it looks like Codes and Ranger Oz are getting much more closer out on the track now. We're on the 14th lap. 2 more laps to go, or 1 lap, 1.5 laps really, as we're halfway through this very short track. And Ranger Oz is right up in the slipstream of Codes, so Codes has to be ultra careful here, not make any mistakes, otherwise Ranger Oz will be coming past. He's not close enough to make any kind of move into the corkscrew. Probably would be a disaster if he did from all the way back there. So we'll come around this left-hand corner, riding on board with Ranger Oz, see if he can get any closer to Codes and make a move and get up onto second place before the end of the race. And looks like Codes is doing a good job of holding it all together, and actually it's Ranger Oz who has gone wide there, so he's now going to try and find his tyres before turn 1. Doesn't want to make the same kind of mistake that Crunch did, although of course turn 1 not as much of a dangerous corner as the corkscrew with dirty tyres. All you'd really do there is drift out wide and lose all the time. Very unlikely to spin the car like you would be the corkscrew. So we are now on the final lap, and Codes is managing to stay ahead of Ranger Oz for second place. We jump back to 4th. Jack is out there on his own. Myself there in 5th, Ando in 6th. We have managed to pull away from Kiwi, who is in 7th. Back to 8th, we have Yodi and Old Mate. Old Mate has closed up on him, so we might have a battle for position 8 before the end of the race. As Mud Blaster comes through the corkscrew one last time, Codes has stayed ahead of Ranger Oz. He should be fine from here on out. Mud Blaster rounds the second to last corner. He just has 1 more to go, so long as he doesn't pull a center and fall off the track all on his own accord, he is going to win the race. A little bit wide there on exit, but that's not going to hurt anyone as Mud Blaster crosses the line to win the race. Codes and Ranger Oz will finish 2nd and 3rd, with Ram Jack 25 in 4th place as he goes off the line. Myself here in 5th place, and 6th place goes to Ando, with 7th for Kiwi. And here we have the battle for 8th as Yodi just gets a little bit deep there. Old Mate has the run of a lifetime through that final corner. So much speed, he manages to pick up 8th there on the line. And so yeah, we ended the season with a good result and pick up 223 points and improve our total score to 451, which was enough to rank me 1st in South Australia, 17th nationally, and 21st for our regional ranking. So let's check out the top 10 now. So there in 1st place we have McEwen, McCosey, Amazing Hour, Codes there in 4th, Dylan Lindgren, Twitchy, Metal Gear, Keeden, Mud Blaster, who won the last race of the season there, and El Rico rounding out the top 10. So yeah, I started out in 2nd split this year and ended up in top split with enough pace to fight for the top 10 on occasion, so we'll look to improve on that for next season. So yeah, that's it for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to support the channel, hit like, leave a comment. If you're not already subscribed, maybe consider it, because we'll be back better than ever in a couple of weeks. So until then, peace out.